Hello, everyone, and welcome to the summer edition of the PCSS Connection. I'm your host, Buddy Pearson, the Communications and Marketing Supervisor. Well, I hope you're having a great summer. You know, we planned on taking the summer off, but there's so much big news happening. We just had to have another episode. So here we go. The furniture has been moved into the new Parkview School, and the Rockets look like they will be soaring in their new school this fall. The staff will be enjoying the new Parkview when in-service begins on July 25th, and the students get their first look on Wednesday, July 31st for registration day, and that day is a 10 a.m. dismissal. Now, school is scheduled to officially start on Monday, August the 5th, and when it does, there's going to be 2 new principals in our local elementary schools. First of all, Deborah Robbins is going to be taking over at Sycamore Elementary, and Kathy Koughan is going to be taking over at Cane Creek. We had a chance to catch up with both of them and hear their thoughts on becoming principals. Well, if you haven't heard, there is a new principal at Sycamore Elementary School, and it is Deborah Robbins. She joins us here on the PCSS Connection. Deborah, welcome to the show, and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very excited to take on this position.
Well, I know it was kind of a shock to us that Tracy neighbors up and said, "Hey, I'm going to retire," her and Rhonda Mahan at Cane Creek, but you know, you never know what to expect from Tracy, and she was on this show, you know, just not too long ago. But anyhow, just to see her announce her retirement, and then to see the influx of support from the staff and everybody at Sycamore, that's got to make you feel good.
Absolutely does make me feel good. I'm going to be honest, I was very humbled by the support from the text messages, emails, prayers, posts on Facebook, just people from all across the county just in support was, it made me feel good. It, like I said, it truly humbled me to see the support from everyone, and just hoping and praying that I can live up to all that.
Well, now, Tracy ran a pretty tight ship.
She did. Tracy and I have worked together for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
We were a pretty good duo, I have to say.
Yeah.
So she will be greatly missed being part of Sycamore. So there are big shoes to fill, and I know that it will take me a while to fill those shoes, and I don't know if I ever will completely, but I'm going to do my best.
You know, to be able to step in at a place that you are so familiar with, and you know the teachers and you know the students, and there is that familiarity factor. It just seems like it was just a natural decision. And now, going from assistant principal to principal, what do you think is going to be some of the things that you'll have to do that you didn't do before, or maybe some kind of learning on the job?
Before there was always someone else that the buck stopped with. Now the buck stops with me.
Right.
So I am the final decision. So that will be obviously a little bit different, but Tracy was so good to me, and she asked my opinion. She allowed me to do different things, but in the end of the day, it was still her building. So, there are things and nothing major, but, there are small things that, I would like to change and implement and do around and make it my own. And
Yeah.
so, but nothing drastic, because like I said, we were a good team, and she allowed me lots of freedom to do things. So, and I appreciate that from her. So,
we're a little over a month away from teachers coming back in for in-service, and the students coming back and starting school up again. Where's the summer gone? But now that you've got about a month, what are some of the things that you're going to be looking at and doing over this next month?
We have a couple positions that we need to fill.
An assistant principal.
Assistant principal being one of those. We had 2 teachers that were from out of county and actually moved back to their home counties,
Okay.
which was completely understandable.
Sure.
So we'll have to fill those positions. I'll have to find an AP, which, finding somebody that fits our building. One of the things that I think Tracy was good at, and I hope I can do as well, as she was good about finding a good fit for our building.
Yeah.
Our building has a good culture.
Yeah.
It has had a good culture for many years. That's one of the things that most people, when they walk into our building, they feel it. They are happy to be there. We have had numerous people say, I love this building. I love the people in it. They're so friendly. They're so helpful. And so finding people to fit that mold sometimes can be challenging, but that's going to be some of the things that she said that she would help me out in this first round. So I took her up on that. I was like, absolutely, because she was a good, could pick out that, in people, and which I'm pretty good judge of character myself. So I think that will be good. But just finding a good fit for those positions, that will be one of our big things to do between now and then. Lots of schedules, lots of classes, and those tedious things you do every summer. And I told her, I was like, you're going to have to tell me all the things that you had to do in the summer since I wasn't here to see all of them. So,
besides go to the pool, you got to do these other things.
Absolutely. So, yes. I think there's going to be lots of conversations back and forth. She said I could keep her on speed dial if I needed her for now. So, right. I won't bother her too much, but but I do plan on utilizing her for a little while until I get in there.
You and her work so well together, and you want somebody that's your assistant principal to be able to support you and help you. So what are you looking for in an assistant principal?
Good question. Definitely a team player. I feel like my background, I came from, most of my teaching experience was in middle school. Mm-hmm. Taught Berks Middle School for many years. I actually started at Bonner High School before I went to Berks Middle School.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that middle school taught me is that you have to build those relationships. Yeah. You can't ask an 8th grader to take a TCAP. That means nothing to them unless you've built a relationship with them. Sure. And so building relationships with students in the very beginning as a teacher, I learned that being at the middle school level. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that has transferred over into being an assistant principal. I think building those relationships, I think the teachers need to be able to see that you're on their team, that you support them, that you're a resource for them. So I think someone that's willing to come in and do that, take that time to learn the faculty, learn the staff, learn the culture, mm-hmm. Continue that culture. So that's one of the big things, because I feel like, you can learn a job, but I think that finding the right fit as far as personality goes is a big part of that. Sure. So finding the person that's personality fits that position in that building. And I think that the rest of it will come for the most part. Obviously somebody that's self-motivated helps in that position. They can learn the curriculum. I learned the curriculum. Like I said, I came from middle school. So that was something that I learned along the way. We have some good coaches that helped with that. But probably the personality and attitude will be a big part of that. So
you talk about the culture at Sycamore Elementary. What sets Sycamore Elementary apart from some of the other elementary schools in Putnam County?
Well, I've not been in all of them. However, one of the things that strikes me with our faculty is they get along. I mean, you have a building full of women. I mean, the only man in our whole building is our SRO and our custodian. So, I mean, you have a building full of women, and, sometimes that's hard. But we have a culture of, we help each other out. Mm-hmm. We're there for each other. Right. They're our students. They're not yours. They're not mine. They're ours. We're going to do what's best for them. Mm-hmm. And to have that cohesion in a building, I've not seen it too many times. And so, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that, that we've built that and hope to continue that, because I feel like that, that does set us apart, that we have that cohesion and we are on the same page and we're all working to do what's best for our kiddos. So
stepping into the role as principal, what do you think is going to be the most challenging thing for you?
That I'm not Tracy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I can't tell you how many kids walking down the hallway has called me Miss Neighbors and called her Miss Robbins so many times. It's almost like we were interchangeable at times, especially with some of the kiddos, that didn't see us as often as, others. But I think that making it, probably stepping in that position and making everyone realize that I am not Tracy. Mm-hmm. And I do have my own ideas and things, and just transitioning that to be my building. Mm-hmm. and taking on those roles as principal in my own way, and I'm not going to say leave it at status quo, but just, continue to build on those things and make those transitions. We've worked hard to try to, increase test scores and then just increase, students reading. I mean, just all the things.
Yeah.
And so, and that's going to be our continual push, is to increase those and every year to do better. I was that teacher that when I was teaching, if it didn't work, well, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it now. We're going to fix it, whatever it takes.
Right.
And I'm still that way. And I, and the same thing goes with the building. If it's not working, let's fix it. Let's make it better, and let's be the best we can be.
Well, Sycamore is a reward school.
It was, yes.
So that's one thing to build on,
Absolutely.
and you know what it takes to make it there. When you come in as a principal and being an assistant principal, you've worked with the teachers, you've seen the students. What do you think is one of the toughest things that teachers are having to deal with today that maybe you can help them with?
We have a transient population.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that makes our job harder. I think our transient population has increased in the last probably 3 or 4 years even. More apartments have popped up around us.
Right.
You have students that you didn't have in kindergarten and first grade coming in. They have multitudes of backgrounds. And so those students, and finding, the students that we've had from kindergarten up, we've tracked, we've worked on deficits, we've worked on areas. But when you have kids that come in that, other states, other communities, we don't know always what their deficits are. And so digging in, trying to find those deficits and support them the best way we can. That's probably one of our biggest struggles, I would say, right now. Looking through every year, it seems like we have more and more students coming to us mid-year, coming to us. I mean, and that's hard when they're coming to you mid-year and you're still trying to figure out who they are and where they came from and all those deficits. That's probably one of our big struggles, I would say. Behavior looks different now than it used to. Probably back when you and I were in the classroom.
Right. A little different.
And they would, jerk you up right there. A little different now.
Get 3 licks for in study hall for talking.
Exactly. But it looks a little different. You have more students that struggle with sitting still, our teachers have done a good job of pivoting, I would think, with that. But there are still some areas that, we can work on to help support students a little better. Social emotional, since COVID has been huge. Lots of kids that spend a lot of time at home and probably a lot of time on, iPads and such. And so just building those social skills, building those social emotional skills. We have a committee that works with that and has kind of took some training on that, working with our staff to help support them and help support students and all their different needs. So lots of things, but I feel like we're doing a good job at it. Our guidance counselor is very good. She works with our students, and she's good to work with our staff when they find areas of need. So.
Well, we've talked some business there. Let's talk about the personal life. Let's talk about you. You're a Monterey native. You grew up on the mountain. And what brought you down here from the mountain? Because you said you started out at Monterey High School. You taught at Berks. Did you want to stay up there or just kind of go wherever you could get a job?
Well, in the beginning, I am a Monterey native. Those first 2 years back in the day, there were 500 people for every application or every job. And so the fight was very tough. And so my first couple years, once I graduated with my bachelor's, was just finding a job. And in those first couple of years, first job was actually at a Christian school in Sparta, Volunteer Christian Academy. I actually took a job there in pre-K, my very first job, and then went on to teach third grade the next year when a teacher left. I continued to interview every summer, reach out to principals all across Putnam County, Cumberland County. I think I applied in White County, several different counties, just trying to find a job. After 2 years, Mr. Bob Witherholt, Monterey High School, which had been my assistant principal at the time, was the principal at Monterey High School. And he said, I have a part-time position. It was block scheduling. Yeah. It was high school general business and 7th grade computers, which I'm a K-8 major. So I was like, well, but I'm young, I can do it. So I did it. Had some learned lots through that. Learned I did not want to teach high school, especially second semester seniors. Yeah, that was tough. And so, but my major was K-8, and so the next year Judy Delk actually transferred to Upperman, and once she transferred to Upperman, they opened up a 7th and 8th grade science position, and he gave that to me, and so that started my career in Monterey. Stayed there till Burks Middle School was open, under the leadership of Mike Goolsby. So moved to Burks Middle School. The next year, Danette Colby moved from math into assistant principal, and I took the math spot and loved it, and stayed there until I came to Cookeville. I've lived in Cookeville since I got married. Once my husband's from Cookeville, he's a Cookeville native. Once I got married, lived in Cookeville, just drove up and down the mountain, didn't think anything about it. It's just what I did. One night, my best friends had to still go to eat with two of my best friends that I grew up with. We went through kindergarten all the way through college, and so we still eat, go out for our birthdays. And she worked at Sycamore, and she's like, "You ought to come down the mountain. You need to come to work at Sycamore." And so the next thing I know, I have a job at Sycamore, and so here I am. So what was funny is Mr. Ed Wheaton hired me and then retired. I was like, thanks. You hired me and then left me. And so now here I am. But so I didn't know who my principal was going to be coming in. I just knew that was going to be a new one. So Tracy and I came the same year. So she was hired that year. Mr. Wheaton left. She had been at Cane Creek for a year and wanted to come back to Sycamore because that was her home school. So in preparation for that, I had put my daughter, she started kindergarten the year before. My husband and I talked about it back and forth, and decided that even though I was in Monterey at the time, all my family was in Cookeville, or his family was in Cookeville. My mom and dad actually had moved to Allgood, so most of my family was here. So we decided that was the best thing was for her to be down here because there were more people to, if somebody needed to pick her up or whatever. So she had already started kindergarten the year before, and I had already started talking with Mr. Wheaton at that time. So we went ahead and put her at Sycamore. So she was there, and so she started first grade that year, and Tracy and I both started the same year. She fell on the playground, broke her arm on the first day. Tracy's first day, my first day. It was like, great, there we are. So, but anyway, that's always funny to think back. But it was really my friends that brought, and my husband said, I'd really like for you not to drive up and down the mountain every day. So I said, okay. So that's what brought me to Sycamore. So been there ever since. I was gone for 1 year when I was in the first round of assistant principals that were elementary assistant principals. I was the first round. I was hired then, and I was hired to go to Jerry Whitson and Parkview. So I split for a year, split between the two buildings. So I was under Dr. Terry Anderson and Bobby Winningham, two completely different styles, but learned a lot from both. Both good principals, both were very good to me, showed me lots in being an assistant principal. Dr. Anderson was getting ready to retire. Mr. Boyd and I talked about it. He asked me if I wanted it, and I said, no, my kids are little. I just started this whole adventure. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. I want to enjoy them while they're little, because my son at the time was in pre-K. So I stuck out, and he asked me, well, since you split, where would you like to go next year? And I said, well, I'd like to work my way back to Sycamore. My daughter's there. He said, well, it's going to be split again with Parkview and Sycamore. And I said, that's fine. I said, if I can go to Sycamore, when it's full time. He said, okay. So I split the next year between Parkview and Sycamore, and then was Sycamore full time from that point on. Wow. So Tracy didn't get to pick me. I picked her. So I always tell her that. I was like, you got stuck with me no matter what. She said, well, that's good. We were a good team. It doesn't matter. So, but that's kind of how I ended up there.
Well, you mentioned your husband and your daughter. Just tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, I've been married for 25 years this year to my husband.
Congratulations.
So thank you. We've had a lot. I told him, I said, we have those years where everything seems to happen. Well, this is one of those years that everything seemed to happen. Our 25th anniversary, my daughter graduated from high school. She's planning on going to Tech this fall. She played softball for Upperman High School, so we had a busy spring because once spring break hit, we were at the ball field every afternoon. So that was very exciting, and I'm happy that she was able to be a part of that and be a part of that whole team. First time they'd been to the state since 2013. So that's exciting. That was very exciting. And it was a great experience for her and the whole team. So I was proud of her for that. But that we had all that with graduations and trying to get graduation parties, and then Tracy leaves me, and so I was like, oh. So, and then of course I did summer school this summer, so we've been doing summer school with that. So it's been a busy year, lots going on. But yeah, he's been my support for all of this. He and I, back when before I left Berks, there was a position open there as assistant principal, and we talked about it and discussed. And he was like, "Oh, I just don't know about you being an assistant principal at a middle school." He goes, "That kind of makes me worry." He worries about, because I told him some tales, about some mad parents,
right?
And then when this position came open, he goes, "Absolutely, I support you 100%." And he has, and he's been a great support. So we've been married for 25 years, and then of course my daughter, like I said, and then I have a son, and he is 14. He's getting ready to start high school.
Wow.
Night and day, my two. But he's not sports oriented. He's more of your gamer kind of
right.
Stuff, and is more into things like that.
Intellectual.
Yes. Even though he's branching out a little bit into some different things. We've got some kayaks, so we enjoy going kayaking, and they actually went without me over during summer school.
Oh.
So I was like, that's not fair.
That's not fair.
We're going to try to make some time to do that. But and then we have 2 cats somehow. We were never cat people or dog people, but now we have 2 cats. So don't know how that happened, but anyway.
Well, great. Well, Deborah, congratulations again
on
your new position, Sycamore Elementary School, the new principal. And I know that you're so excited. The staff is excited, teachers, students. So we're looking forward to Sycamore being another reward school and having a great year.
Me too. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm excited, like I said, to take on the reins. And so look forward to seeing what we can do.
All right. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, somebody who's going back home, so to speak, to be a principal is, pronounce your last name.
Koughan.
Koughan. Now it's Koughan. Koughan.
Correct.
Right. I've had a lot of people either misspell it or mispronounce it.
You can say it or you can read it, but don't try both at the same time.
Kathy Koughan is going back to Cane Creek as the principal. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm humbled. It's a dream come true. Really.
Yeah.
I've had to pinch myself multiple times.
Now, I've seen you in the last year with Mel Presley at Parkview, and you guys have been like this dynamic duo of fun. It's like whatever, riding tricycles down the hallway for a Christmas video, good things like that. But now you're going to have your own school.
And that whole bucket of costumes is coming with me to Cane Creek. So it's all about having fun. You have to have fun, and you have to have with your family, fun with your family. And then everything falls into place after that.
So when you heard that Rhonda Mahan was going to be retiring, which was, just happened a few weeks ago, kind of a surprise, and that position was open, what were your thoughts?
Well, it's funny because Mel Presley and I were just talking about it this spring, my long-term plans, and she knew I wanted my own building, and that was a goal. And I knew Rhonda was probably getting close to her end of her career, and I said to her, gosh, I really would love to go back home to Cane Creek. And she said, you need to tell Mr. King about your intentions. Just plant that seed so that he can know your long-term goals as well.
Yeah.
And then it happened. I mean, a month later, and Mel Presley knew. She's like, oh no. And I said, I'm going for it. It's just a dream to, come true to go home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you've been at Jerry Whitson too, and as an assistant principal, and you'd seen, some good things happen there. And the only thing you're going to miss out on is the new Parkview School.
I know, my one shot at a new building, but this is better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is better. It's just, those are my people.
Yeah.
Going home.
Now, you were at Cane Creek 16 years?
16 years.
Teaching kindergarten?
Primarily kindergarten. I taught T1 for a year. I taught first grade for a year, and then I taught RTI right before I left. But the majority of my time at Cane Creek was kindergarten. 16
years. That's a long time to be at a place.
It's a lifetime.
It is.
It's a lifetime. And that's what makes this so special, because it's like I've poured my heart and soul into that building, or I felt like I at least tried to. And so to go back to a building where you've given almost your whole career to is just, outstanding.
Yeah. So you've got about a month till school starts. No pressure.
Nope. It's come at me fast and furious.
What are you going to be doing in the next month?
Well, my first order of business is to hire an assistant principal.
Right.
So, and I'm looking for that dynamic duo. I had just the perfect pairing with Tina Francis.
Yeah.
We were inseparable and still are.
Yeah.
A perfect pairing with Mel Presley.
Yes.
You know, we just fit together. And so I'm looking for, you know, that type of relationship to help me lead the school.
Right. Because, you know, when you think of Tina, it's sort of like Mel Presley is like a young Tina Francis because
She really is.
she is. I mean, you know, you think about it because Tina's just whatever. I mean, she goes for whatever. And then you see Mel the same kind of way and they love their kids and they're outgoing and loud and just fun. And so, and you fit that mold. And so, I mean, is there somebody out there like that?
I'm certainly hoping so. And I want it to be a perfect fit for the school, for the staff, you know, and who really has a desire to lead Cane Creek as well.
So will this be your decision by yourself? Do you have other people that's going to sit in? Or, I mean, how will you do this?
We will have just a very small committee, but I know myself, Dr. Wood will be sitting in on those interviews as well.
Sure.
So to try to help guide my decision because I'm just baby principal here coming in.
Well, so you're going to be a principal for the first time. And when you've been thinking about having your own building, what are some of the things that you've been thinking about that, you know, that attracted you to that?
Well, I want to be a support for teachers.
Yeah.
Number one, when teachers feel supported, you know, their work in the classroom is a lot easier.
Right.
So I want to be a champion for teachers. And then I feel I can bring some experience in terms of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of discipline experience from Mel Presley, who really taught me, she raised me right, you know. So I plan to help with student discipline, and then just supporting teachers and discipline will lead to greater achievement and growth. And that's something that I really want to see for Cane Creek.
Well, that's awesome.
So they're on the path, a great path already. Rhonda Mahan did an outstanding job at that school. So I just want to continue in her footsteps.
What do you think is going to be some of the challenges that you'll have to face?
Just getting to really know the building again.
Yeah.
I've 16 years, but I've been gone for 3.
Yeah.
So lots of things have happened in 3 years. We, you know, even just our approach to instruction has changed in the past 3 years. So it's really just relearning a building. It's going to be like going home, but it's not always the same, right, when you return. So just trying to navigate a new building and lots of new staff members that I don't know.
Right.
So I think that's not particularly a challenge, but something that will take some time.
Do you think there's some kind of maybe angst or anxiety that when teachers they're at a school, all of a sudden a new principal comes in, they're like, oh no, what's going to happen? They, you know, they have, is she going to do this? Is she going to do that? Is she going to mess things up? Or is things going to continue running smooth? You know, how do you handle those kind of things?
I remember being in that position. And at Cane Creek, we had several principals while I was there.
Really?
So I remember that anxiety of, what are they going to be like? You know, so, but the first year you just want to really sit back and take it all in. I think it takes a full year to really grasp all the workings of, you know, all sorts of channels in that building. So I'm going to sit back and not sit back because I'll be busy, but I'm just going to do a year of really getting to know people, building relationships, and getting to see how things work. And then, of course, as we decide to make small changes, that's always done with a leadership team. You know, that I really believe in that shared leadership and having that panel to help me and guide me in my decision making.
Now, how does somebody from New Jersey find Cookeville, Tennessee?
I followed a boy once upon a time.
There you go.
I did, but I loved it here. I think I was a country girl at birth and just didn't know it. I was born in the wrong place. And when I moved to Cookeville, it has always felt like home.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and I go back. My parents are still in New Jersey.
Really?
By the beach. We were just there 2 weeks ago, and it's a fun place to visit. But after 48 hours of traffic and...
You're ready to come back to Cookeville.
I'm ready to come back to Cookeville.
Now, you taught in New York City?
I did. After I graduated college at the University of Delaware, I moved to New York City and applied to Teachers College, Columbia University. And to help pay for that tuition, I actually got accepted into the AmeriCorps program. Okay. So you got to teach in a New York City public school where they needed the help.
Yes.
And then in turn, you got a New York City teacher salary and your tuition paid for at Columbia University.
Wow.
So it was an opportunity of a lifetime.
So compare New York City, Cookeville, teaching.
I loved both. I love both.
Really?
They're just different.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I felt like I'd make a difference in both places. New York City was just a unique experience, and I was glad to do it. I wouldn't want to live in New York City permanently. 2 years was good, and I was ready to go. But I finished my master's out there and 2 years of of teaching out there, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in a middle school. And I thought, I think I want elementary after that experience. So,
well, when did you know that you wanted to be a principal?
It wasn't until I moved to Cookeville, and I was at Cane Creek, and I started taking on more leadership opportunities slowly. And I thought, I can lead a committee. I can, create a tradition. And then slowly that morphed into, I might want to be a principal one day. And I had already had a master's in reading from Columbia. And so I thought, I'll have to go back to school, but that slowly worked its way into fruition. And I was able to go to Tennessee State for another master's in instructional leadership. And that was over COVID. And it seemed like it was all meant to be. Yeah. And it just spiraled from there, in the best way.
Right.
So.
Well, tell us a little bit about, you've told us a little bit about your background. You grew up in New Jersey, you went to school in New Jersey, and then you found your way down here to Cookeville. So tell us a little bit about your family.
I have 2 boys. Gavin is going to be a junior at Cookeville High School, and Josh will be in the 6th grade at Avery Trace. So they keep me busy. Yeah. The younger one plays almost every sport imaginable. Great. So when I'm not at school, you'll find me on a field somewhere. Yeah. And sport mom, boy mom, and then we have an Aussie Doodle Titan at home with us as well. So, awesome. They keep me busy. Yeah, for sure.
When you look at public education, and you've been in it for a long time, especially here in Putnam County, what do you think are some of the things that teachers face on the regular that you might be able to help them with?
Definitely, as I said, discipline. Mm-hmm. That is a huge thing that teachers are facing, and if they're supported well, we can help them in those day-to-day operations too. Sure. And then just facing the challenges that our youth are facing today. A lot of our children are hungry, go home. Maybe they don't have someone at home all night long because their parents are working. So just being able to really help support the students too in getting the resources they need, and then supporting teachers with discipline. I think if you take those things, and the teachers can really propel those kids forward and worry about the instruction, which is why, we go to school every day. Yeah.
What about students? What do you think they're facing now that maybe they didn't face 16 years ago?
I think both parents are working for sure. If there are 2 parents in the home, lots of families, including my own, are run by, single parents. And so that's hard. And we're trying to juggle it all, working and raising children. Right. And I think it's more expensive for families these days. So money is tight for everybody, so, and a lot of even children are being raised by grandparents, so that's been increasing in numbers since I was there. Yeah. But still the same kids, still the same community. And I'm just excited to pour into everybody.
If you could look a few years down the road, and once you get settled in as principal, what do you think are some of the things, your long-term goals for Cane Creek?
I really want to see them become a reward school.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, it was great to happen at Jerry Whitson, and I know that they have all the structures in place to be able to do it. So we have to look at, of course, growth and achievement. We've got to look at student attendance, things that really will help us propel in that category. But I think we can do it. Yeah. And it's a goal. It's a goal of mine.
She says with a big smile.
With a big smile. And I hope to be there for many, many years to come. I know Cane Creek has had several different principals, and it's one thing that the staff has really wanted is someone to stay there for a long time. And so that's my goal. I don't plan to go anywhere. I'm hoping a good 10, 15-year run at Cane Creek is in my future.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything else as far as becoming a principal or going back to Cane Creek? I mean, I know we talked with Deborah Robbins, who is the new principal at Sycamore, and she talked about the culture at Sycamore. What is the culture at Cane Creek? Is there a particular culture? There's anything that set it apart from other elementary schools?
They're a family, and I know each elementary school has a family, but they are a true family, and I've been received as just like, oh my gosh, she's coming home, so I just want to propel that, and I do want to have fun. I think that's a big part of it, and just celebrate all that those teachers and students have been accomplishing thus far, and then keep on celebrating them as we continue to hit additional milestones, like that reward school. I promise you, buddy, we'll be sitting here and give me, a couple years.
All right.
But they're a family, and they always have been. They've been through tough times as well. We've had losses of students, but we've always come together for the good of the kids. And those that faculty and staff, they're really in it for the kids.
Right.
And so I just can't wait to rejoin them.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Any big plans for back to school? I mean, any confetti cannons or anything, good?
You expect nothing less than me,
expect
right? Because I've been raised
less,
by Tia
yes.
Francis and Mel Presley. I know we'll have a back to school bash.
Yeah.
I'm meeting with Rhonda Mahan tomorrow
Okay.
to go over just some very, very beginning details. And then I'm
Right.
taking a vacation. I'm going
There
to
you go.
Yellowstone and Glacier
Are
this
you
summer.
really?
We
Oh,
are.
wow. That's awesome.
Which I told Mr. King, I said, really bad timing. I did not know that this was going to happen to me. I wouldn't have scheduled this long vacation. But I am going to be on vacation through the 15th. And then the first day back, I plan to meet with all the teachers.
Sure.
Just to get a temperature check and meet people that I don't know.
Yeah.
And then get those details for things like back to school bash, because Cane Creek always has a good one.
Oh, they do. And how's Rhonda been during this whole transition?
So helpful. And I actually did my internship. She was my principal, right?
Really?
I was still there
Okay.
for 1 year.
Yeah.
I did RTI under her. And then she helped me with my internship. When I was going to Tennessee State for instructional leadership, we had to do a year-long internship. And so I did that under Rhonda Mahan,
Wow.
which is so great. And so when she called me on Friday to congratulate me and was just thrilled and said that she would be willing to help in whatever I needed. So we're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we're going to go over all the details. And I already have a list of questions for her. So she better watch out. But she's been so helpful and so kind.
Kathy, say your last name again.
Koughan.
It's, it's going to stick. I promise it will. It's easier to type than it is to say.
A little bit.
Yeah. Kathy Koughan, the new principal at Cane Creek Elementary. How do you like the sound of that?
Oh my gosh, it's a dream. It's surreal. I'm pinching myself still. I'm just honored. I really am.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for taking time before your big vacation, before you have to meet with teachers, before you have to get ready for, back to school bashes, for coming on and just hanging out with us.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks. And that's going to wrap up the PCS Connection as our summer edition. We've got plenty of great episodes lined up for when school starts back in the fall. Hey, you know what? This week is Independence Day. So I tell you what, why don't you go out and enjoy Independence Day and make sure that you celebrate the United States of America. We'll see you in a few weeks, and God bless the USA.